राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी। जय गिरिवर धारी। जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन। जय यशोदानंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। We reading from Canto 3, Chapter 25, text number 42. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshava Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text number 42. Please repeat. Mad-bhayāt vāti vāto-yam sūryas tapati mad-bhayāt varṣatīndro dahaty agnir mṛtyuś carati mad-bhayāt mad-bhayāt vāti vāto-yam sūryas tapati mad-bhayāt varṣatīndro dahaty agnir mṛtyuś carati mad-bhayāt mad-bhayāt vāti vāto-yam sūryas tapati mad-bhayāt varṣatīndro dahaty agnir mṛtyuś carati mad-bhayāt. Vaishnavis. Mad-bhayāt vāti vāto-yam sūryas tapati mad-bhayāt varṣatīndro dahaty agnir mṛtyuś carati mad-bhayāt. Synonyms, please respond. Mad-bhayāt, out of fear of me. Vāti, blows. Vātaḥ, wind. Ayam, this. Sūryaḥ, the sun. Tapati, shines. Mad-bhayāt, out of fear of me. Varṣati, showers rain. Indraḥ, Indra. Dahati, burns. Agni, fire. Mṛtyuḥ, death. Carati, goes. Mad-bhayāt, out of fear of me. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows out of fear of me, the sun shines out of fear of me, and the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. Please respond. It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows out of fear of me. The sun shines out of fear of me. And the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, says in Bhagavad-gītā that the natural laws being enacted are correct in all activities because of his superintendence. No one should think that nature is working automatically without superintendence. The Vedic literature says that the clouds are controlled by the demigod Indra. Heat is distributed by the sun god. The soothing moonlight is distributed by Chandra, and the air is blowing under the arrangement of the demigod Vāyu. But above all these demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the chief living entity. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The demigods are also ordinary living entities, but due to their faithfulness, their devotional service attitude, they have been promoted to such posts. These different demigods or directors, such as Chandra, Varuṇa and Vāyu, are called adhikāri-devatā. The demigods are departmental heads. The government of the Supreme Lord consists not only of one planet or two or three. There are millions of planets and millions of universes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a huge government, and he requires assistance. The demigods are considered his bodily limbs. These are the descriptions of Vedic literature. Under these circumstances, the sun god, the moon god, the fire god, and the air god are working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad-gītā, maya-dhyaksena prakriti sūyate sa-carācaram. The natural laws are being conducted under his superintendence. Because he is in the background, everything is being performed punctually and regularly. One who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely protected from all other influences. He no longer serves or is obliged to anyone else. Of course, he is not disobedient to anyone, but his full power of thought is absorbed in the service of the Lord. The statements by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapila that under his direction the air is blowing, the fire is burning, and the sun is giving heat are not sentimental. The impersonalist may say that the Bhagavatam devotees create and imagine someone as a Supreme Personality of Godhead and assign qualifications to him. But actually, it is neither imagination nor an imposition of artificial power in the name of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is said, Bhishasmat vātaḥ pavate bhisho deti sūryaḥ. By fear of the Supreme Lord, the wind god and the sun god are acting. Bhishasmat agnir chandrascha mṛtyuḥ dahati pancamaha. Agni, Indra and mṛtyuḥ are also acting under his direction. These are the statements of the Vedas. Translation once again. It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows out of fear of me, the sun shines out of fear of me, and the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Canto 3, which is entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 25, which is entitled The Glories of Devotional Service, and we are on text 42, which are the teachings and instructions of Lord Kapila, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, to his mother Devahuti. And today's text is simply mentioning the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, where Krishna says he is ruling everything. We do know that the demigods are the assistants of the Lord. And all the demigods have tremendous amount of power. They are controlling the rains, the fire, the heat, the clouds, and even death, Yamraj. But all of them are working under the influence of Krishna. They're not working independently. So Krishna says, all of them, whether the wind is blowing, whether the fire is burning, and so forth, they are all doing so because of fear of Lord Krishna. And because of the instruction given by the Lord, they are acting in a specific manner. So in today's class, I'm actually going to talk about the connection and the pastimes of the Lord with all these demigods that are mentioned in the translation here. The sun god, the fire god, the wind god, as well as the god of death, Yamraj. So I'm just going to quote a few stanzas by Srila Prabhupada, who's mentioned how these demigods are actually under the supervisory role of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam, Canto 2, quote, "The demigods like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, Indra, Chandra, and Varun are undoubtedly different forms of the Lord for execution of different functions. The different elemental ingredients of material creation, as well as the multifarious energies, also may be of the same personality of Godhead. But the root of all of them is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna." And it is also mentioned in Krishna book, chapter number 87, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a supreme independent controlling person, and all the demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, the king of the moon planet, and the king of the sun planet, work under his direction. The Vedas confirm that it is out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, and the fire is distributing its heat. So we'll start with the sun god here. Sun god is very powerful, very, very powerful. In fact, without the influence of the sun, there would be no life, at least on our planet. We would absolutely have no light, no heat, and the planet would be inhabitable. So what is Krishna's very close connection with the sun god? In fact, Krishna first spoke the Bhagavad-gītā millions of years ago to the sun god, Vivasvan. And then Vivasvan further spoke it to Manu and then Ikshvaku here. So that is the closest connection, that Krishna chose sun god to be his first disciple to receive the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā. So if the sun god is the disciple of Lord Krishna, there is absolutely no question that the sun god is supreme. Above the sun god is his guru, which is Krishna himself. And it is also mentioned here that the sun represents the eye of the Lord. This is clearly mentioned in the Gita. And I'll be talking a little bit about a very fascinating story, how Krishna actually controls the sun in a very mysterious and a cunning way. And this story is coming from Mahabharata. I'm sure most of you heard about this. This is a story when the war was going on, and there was a king, a very demoniac king, whose name was Jayadratha. And this is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 15 and text number 16 in the purport. It's coming from Mahabharata. Jayadratha was a great friend of Duryodhana, and he was fighting from the Kauravas' side. And it is mentioned that one day Jayadratha, much before the war, happened to see Draupadi. And Draupadi was stunningly beautiful. And Jayadratha actually developed a desire to have her. And when he tried to reach out to her, the Pandavas got really, really annoyed and angry, and they fought with him, and they captured him. But Pandavas, being very soft-hearted, they never actually killed Jayadratha. They shaved off his head, and they left 5 strands of hair. So that was extremely insulting to Jayadratha. And they released him, because he had cast an evil eye on their chastely wife. And it is mentioned that Jayadratha became really, really angry, and he wanted to avenge the Pandavas. So he performed a lot of penances and a lot of austerities to please Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva gave him boon. And even Jayadratha's own father gave him a boon. And the boon was, whoever causes your death, the moment your head falls on the ground because of that person killing you, that person who sought to kill you will be killed himself. So this was a very convoluted boon that was given to Jayadratha. And of course, the person who would kill Jayadratha, anytime Jayadratha's head would fall on the ground, the person who actually killed him would himself be killed. So this was the boon given to him. And it is mentioned that Jayadratha was the chief instrumental person responsible for the killing of Abhimanyu, who is Arjun's son. Of course, there were a lot of commanders who formed a circle around Abhimanyu, but it was actually Jayadratha who was leading the evil intentions of killing him. And when Arjun got to know about this, of course, Arjun had lost his son Abhimanyu, he became outraged. And he took a vow that tomorrow in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, I will kill Jayadratha before the sun sets. And if I'm not able to do this, I will immolate myself. That means I'll set myself on fire and kill myself. So this was Arjun's very great vow. And it is mentioned the next day dawned, and the Kauravas knew about this vow of Arjun, and so they hid Jayadratha in their army. They never let Jayadratha come in the front. And it is mentioned that Jayadratha was carefully guarded by all the soldiers and the great warriors, and he never came out. And now the day is going on, and it is very, very close towards the end of the day, and the sun is about to set. And Arjun has still not been able to kill Jayadratha. And this is the time Krishna comes to defend and protect his devotees. And Krishna does a very cunning thing. He takes out his Sudarshan Chakra, and his chakra is huge, by the way. It is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports that Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra is more powerful than billions of Brahmastras put together. So Krishna takes out the Sudarshan Chakra and hides the sun. And immediately the sun's illumination and the rays are gone. And suddenly there's darkness on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And everybody who's fighting there thinks, oh, the sun has set. So now the Kauravas are very delighted that the sun has set. And now Arjun has not been able to kill Jayadratha. So now Arjun will actually set himself on fire. So they were very, very happy. So they all came out. And Jayadratha also actually came out, because he realized the sun has set. And now I will not be able to be killed by Arjun, so it's okay for me to come out. And he comes out from his protective layers. Immediately, the moment he comes out, Krishna gives a command to Arjun, now is the time to kill Jayadratha. And Arjun lifts his Gandiva bow, and Arjun knows, and Krishna guides him, do not let his head fall on the ground. You shoot your arrow in such a way that when Jayadratha is killed, his head is transported to the lap of his father far away, who is meditating, and the head should fall on the lap of his father. And Arjun, being such an amazing warrior, probably the best warrior in this creation, he shoots an arrow towards Jayadratha using his Gandiva bow, decapitates him, and the head goes and falls in the lap of Jayadratha's father. And the father sees the head of his son lying in his lap, and he is completely shocked. What is this? And he gets up. And the head of Jayadratha actually falls on the ground, and immediately Jayadratha's father is also killed. So this is Krishna's connection with the sun god. So two things here. First of all, the sun god served as a disciple to receive the knowledge of the Gita. And second, how Krishna actually covered Surya through his Sudarshan Chakra simply to save his dear friend Arjuna here. In fact, in Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 11, text 29 to 31, Srila Sutta Goswami says, the sun travels among all the planets and thus regulates their movements. It has been created by Lord Vishnu, the supreme soul of all embodied beings, through his beginningless material energy. The sun god, being non-different from Lord Hari, is the one soul of all the worlds and their original creator. Being the source of the material energy, the personality of Godhead Lord Hari, in his expansion as the sun god, is described in 9 aspects. In Brahma Samhita 5.52, it is said, the sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. And to end the connection with sun god, in the room conversation with Allen Ginsberg in 1969 on Ohio, Srila Prabhupada says, quote, I explained the other day that the sunshine, the sun globe, and the sun god. Yes, that is Shastric information. The sun is the incarnation of Narayan, Surya Narayan. He is powerful. He is driving in 4 horses. He has got chariot of 4 horses and very powerful. Yat Chakshur Esha Savita. Savita is his name. So this is the connection of the Lord with the sun god here. And Krishna says in this translation here that the wind also blows out of fear of me. So we'll now move to discussing the connection of the Lord with the wind god, also known as Vayu here. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 20, Text 28. The inhabitants of Shakadweep worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Vayu in the following words. O Supreme Person, situated as the super soul within the body, you direct the various actions of the different airs, such as prana, and thus you maintain all living entities. Bhagavatam Canto 5 continues. Lord Vishnu expands as the demigods known as Agni, Vāyu, Surya and Chandra, who are simply parts and parcels of his body. So 2 pastimes that I want to mention here, which show there's a lot of mention how these demigods are completely subordinate to the Lord, but 2 specific pastimes which show how the wind is actually being controlled by Krishna himself. The first pastime is very fascinating, everyone knows about this, is how Lord Shiva wanted to see the most beautiful and enticing form of Mohini Murti during the churning of the ocean to get the nectar between the devatas and the demons. And the Lord appeared as Mohini Murti to give the nectar to the demigods. And Lord Shiva desired to see that most beautiful form of the Lord. And Krishna had warned him that you would not be able to handle it. But Lord Shiva said he would still like to see it. And then there is a beautiful description of Mohini Murti, her bodily description. We won't go into that, but it's mentioned she was playing with a ball in the forest, and she was decorated very beautifully with a cloth, and the wind started blowing. And this was Krishna's Leela. This is Krishna is making the wind blow. So when Lord Shiva is actually watching Mohini Murti from the distance, the wind actually captures her cloth and throws it out of her body. And Lord Shiva happens to see her at that time, and is completely enamored by her, and it is mentioned he runs after her. So this is a pastime which shows how the Lord is actually controlling the wind, even to test the staunch determination of his great devotee like Lord Shiva. Krishna had to used the help of the wind, although he did not need to, but this is one of his leela, that he sought to use the help of the wind to actually show the gorgeous beauty of Mohini Murti, which is Krishna himself. And the second pastime that I want to talk about is, of course, one of the greatest devotees ever born of the Lord, and that is the son of the wind god himself, who is known as Hanuman. And Hanuman is a servitor and a great servant of Lord Ram. So someone who is a servant of Lord Ram, who is Krishna himself, how can that, the son of Vayu, how can Vayu be on the same platform of Krishna himself? So Vayu has to be on a lower platform because his son Hanuman is a devotee of Lord Ram. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about Hanuman and Hanumanji and Vayu Dev. We all know that Hanuman is referred to as Vayu Putra. He is the son of the wind god Vayu. And of course, he's in the form of a monkey god, and he's the son of two monkeys, Kesari and Anjana. But we won't have time to go over the entire detail here. Essentially, Vayu desired a union with Anjana, and through that union, Hanuman was born. And it is mentioned that when Hanuman was born, he grew very fast, extremely fast. He became gigantic and very large and very strong in a very short period of time. And one day he went to Anjana and said, I am extremely hungry, I need to eat more. And so she would feed him a lot of fruits, and his appetite would not be curbed. He would say, I want more and more, and I want nice big fruits. And in a moment of jest, Anjana said, well, I've given you all the fruits here. You need a fruit as large, as juicy, and as red as the sun. Then only your appetite will be satisfied. She just said in a moment of jest. And Hanuman immediately looked up and saw the sun. And he thought the sun was a fruit because it was large and red and powerful and glowing. So it is mentioned here that Hanuman wanted the sun god. And he's a child, by the way, at this time. He's not grown up. He wanted to devour the sun, thinking the sun to be a very juicy red fruit. And he grew, and his body grew very large. And he went up there with an intention of grabbing the sun and swallowing him. So I have read two accounts here, and please correct me. In one account it says he actually swallowed the sun. And in another account says he didn't swallow the sun, he was going to swallow the sun. So regardless, he was chasing the sun. And at that time, it is mentioned that the demigods got to know that Hanuman, this little monkey, is coming to swallow the sun. So Indra comes there, and they want to prevent him from actually swallowing the sun, because once the sun is swallowed, there'll be no light and there'll be no heat, and entire universal system would be in a chaos. So Indra comes with his vajra, this thunderbolt, and he throws the thunderbolt at Hanuman, and it hits him on the jaw, and his jaw gets damaged, and Hanumanji falls on the ground. Now when Vayu, his father, the wind god, gets to know about this, that somebody has actually dared to harm his little son, he becomes extremely angry. And he withdraws all the air from the universal system. And basically there's no air in the universal system. People are gasping for breath. And people are falling because there's no air now. So now there's two big problems here. First of all, the sun was going to be swallowed, and that's been taken care of, but Hanuman is lying unconscious on the ground with his jaw damaged. And it is mentioned that all the demigods now go to Vayudev and they beg forgiveness for him, particularly Indra. He says, I'm so sorry, but please release your wind, please release your air, so that the universal system can get back to breathing the air again and everyone can survive. And it is mentioned that Vayudev agrees, and essentially he gives off the air and everybody starts breathing again. But at this time it is mentioned all the demigods go to Hanuman to revive him. And they actually give him the most amazing benedictions. I'm going to read out the benedictions here. It is mentioned that Lord Brahma, to revive Hanumanji, he takes his kamandala and sprays few drops of water on Hanumanji, and Hanuman gets revived. And it is mentioned here that so many benedictions were given at this point. The first benediction was from Indra, who said that your body will be as strong as my thunderbolt, and nobody will be able to harm you. The Varun, the god of water, ocean, says, you will be completely immune to the water. Water will not be able to impact you. The fire god Agni says, fire will not touch your body, you will never be burnt by fire. And that is why we see that pastime where Hanuman's tail is lit up, but Hanumanji is not destroyed because of the fire. And then, of course, there are so many other demigods who gave him various kinds of benedictions. And another benediction was where Lord Brahma says that no weapon, even weapons like Brahmastra, cannot touch you, essentially. And he also gives him benediction that you'll be extremely learned and extremely wise and educated. And we see all these qualities are present in Hanuman here. So this is the connection of Lord Krishna with the wind god here. We mentioned how in Bhagavatam Canto 5 it is listed, how the wind god is actually being controlled by Lord Krishna himself. The third demigod which is mentioned here is Indra, who is the lord of the clouds, Samvartaka, as well as the rain. And this pastime we all know. This is the Govardhan Leela, where Indra deluged Vrindavan by sending clouds to flood Vrindavan to teach a lesson to Krishna, who had stopped the sacrifice of Lord Indra here. And we won't go into Govardhan Leela, but everybody knows about this, that how Krishna lifted Govardhan hill and sought to curb the pride and the ego of Lord Indra. And it is mentioned how Indra realizes his mistake and actually offers prayers to the Lord, and essentially along with the cow Surbhi, he actually bathes the Lord with the milk of the cow and begs his forgiveness that I am so sorry, I was guided over by my sense of pride and my sense of ego. And it is mentioned here in Bhagavatam Canto 8 here, the various names of the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and so on, are not personal names. They are names of different posts. In this regard, we understand that Lord Vishnu sometimes becomes Brahma or Indra when there is no suitable person to occupy these posts. So it's very important to remember these are designations. And even the Lord can actually occupy these posts, as has been written in Bhagavatam Canto 8 here. The fourth connection is with the demigod of fire, also known as Agni. And two pastimes I'm going to talk about here is coming from Krishna book here, as well as Krishna book chapter 58. In Bhagavad-gītā chapter 9, text 16, the Lord says, but it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant, I am the butter and the fire and the offering. So there's a lot of evidence in our Shastra which shows how Krishna is actually completely the controller of these demigods. So the pastime I want to talk about, which shows how Krishna controls fire or Agni, the fire god, is where one time the Krishna's cowherd friends and the cows, they were all playing in the fire, and Krishna actually, in the forest, and the forest was on fire, and Krishna actually swallowed the fire to save his Gopa friends and all his cows and calves. So Krishna is fully capable of swallowing the fire. That means the fire has to be under the jurisdiction of Krishna. And another very interesting pastime is involving Krishna and Agni is when Agni, the fire god, wanted to be rejuvenated and needed more things to devour. Agni wanted to devour more things. And there is a beautiful forest known as Khandava forest, which is full of very healing herbs and medicines. And Agni wanted to eat that forest, that Khandava forest, and wanted to undergo rejuvenation. And it is mentioned here that Agni had actually given the Sudarshan Chakra long ago to Krishna, and I'm trying to find the reference, I've not been able to find here, but I'm going to read a little purport by Srila Prabhupada later, giving more clarity here. So it is mentioned here, to fulfill Agni's desire to eat the forest of Khandava, Lord Krishna along with Arjun actually went to that forest and enabled Agni to devour the Khandava forest here. And it is mentioned here because Agni was able to satisfy his hunger by eating the Khandava forest. Agni at that time blessed Arjun with the Gandiva bow, with 4 white horses and a chariot and various arrows, so that Arjun would not lose any battle here. And so it is mentioned here also that while the Khandava forest was being devoured, there was a demon there by the name of Maya. And Maya was saved by Arjun while the Khandava forest was being devoured. So Maya became indebted to Arjun, and it is mentioned became a friend of Arjun. And while Yudhishthir Maharaj was creating his fantastic kingdom, which was architected by Vishwakarma, there was a contribution by Maya Danav also here. So Maya actually built a very, very interesting house within that kingdom made by Vishwakarma. And it is mentioned that this assembly house was so puzzling and so bewildering that when Duryodhan came to see this fantastic kingdom of Yudhishthir, he was completely misdirected. And where there was land, he actually started walking, it was water, and he fell down into a pool of water. And we know the whole history, how, people started laughing at him, and he was insulted at that point. And this was done by the demon Maya in the kingdom of Yudhishthir Maharaj, because Maya was saved by Arjun in the battle, not in the battle, in the devouring of the forest of Khandava. And it is mentioned here that Srila Prabhupada writes here, quote here, Sudarshan Chakra, this wheel which is accepted by Vishnu or Krishna is the most powerful weapon, greater than the Brahmastras. In some of the Vedic literatures it is said that Agni Dev, the fire god, presented this weapon to Lord Shri Krishna. But factually, this weapon is eternally carried by the Lord. Agni Dev presented this weapon to Krishna in the same way that Rukmini was given by Maharaj Rukma to the Lord. The Lord accepts such presentations from his devotees, even though such presentations are eternally his property. And this is mentioned in the Adi Parva of Mahabharata here. And the final connection that I want to talk about in the next couple of minutes is with the Lord of Death, also known as Yamaraj here. And we do know Yamaraj is one of the Mahajans here. And to show how Yamaraj is actually being controlled by Lord Krishna is the pastime of Ajamil, where Ajamil was planned to be taken over by the Yamadutas, and then the Vishnu Dutas came over because Ajamil had chanted the name of Lord Narayan. And so it is mentioned here that when the Yamadutas are actually approaching Yamraj, their controller, that what is happening here, what's so special about this, can you please explain to us? And this is mentioned here that Yamraj is actually mentioning about the great qualities of the Vishnu Dutas and how anybody who has chanted the name of Lord Narayan, the Yamadutas cannot touch him here. So it is explained here, I'm just looking for my note really quick here, that Yamraj says, "My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna." This is Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Text 29 here. And Yamraj tells his servants, "My dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller, Krishna." So this is Yamraj actually explaining to the Yamdutas that I may be your boss, but I have a boss ahead of me, over me, and that is Krishna here. And there is a very interesting pastime of Yamraj, where one time Ravan, the demon, the demoniac king, actually went to Yamloka and he started destroying the Yamadutas there. And that time Yamaraj actually sought to fight with Ravan. And Yamaraj was actually attacking Ravan, and he actually struck Ravan. And Ravan fell down unconscious. But Yamaraj, being an amazing Kshatriya at that point, did not want to fight with somebody who was lying unconscious. So he waited for him to get up. And it is mentioned that Ravan actually got up and started fighting with Yamaraj again. And Yamraj picked up his mace, his gada, and was about to strike Yamraj to death. Immediately Lord Brahma came at that point. He says, stop. You are not supposed to be killing Yamraj. I have given, you're not supposed to kill Ravan. I have given the benediction that Ravan will be not be killed by any demigods or rishis or animals. He will be killed by a human being. So please put down your mace, because you are not supposed to be killing him. A form of Lord Krishna will be coming, and he is ordained to kill Ravan. And Yamraj, being a great Mahajan, followed the instructions of Lord Brahma, and then he left from that battlefield away. So this is Yamraj actually following the directions of Lord Brahma and giving the glory of killing Lord Ravan to Lord Ram. So these are some evidences which show you how all these 5 different demigods in their different pastimes with Lord Krishna are actually subordinate to Lord Krishna. And I'm just going to end here, since we talk about the sun god, the splendor of the sun god according to the modern concept, as well as the description of the sun god, because amongst all these demigods, we totally rely on the sun for heat and illumination and for our sight. Sun is amazing. So according to NASA and various space agencies, I'm just giving a very modern concept of the sun here, and we'll talk a little bit about the Vedic concept. The sun is the biggest object in our solar system. It's a huge ball of hydrogen and helium gases, and its diameter is 1.4 million kilometers. It is situated at a distance of 150 million kilometers from Earth, and it would take more than 330,000 Earths to match the mass of the sun, and it would take 1.3 million Earth planets to fill up the entire planet of the sun. Sun is essential to our survival, and it is mentioned that the hottest part of the sun, in the core, the temperature reaches 27 million Fahrenheit. We do remember in the last few weeks we had touched 95 degrees, 115 degrees. The sun's core is at 27 million Fahrenheit, and the surface is at 10,000 degree Fahrenheit, and so forth here. So these are just some aspects of the sun that I'm just explaining to you. But according to the Vedic concept, there is a personality behind the sun, and the sun is depicted as riding a glowing chariot pulled by 7 white horses, and the sun god has a reddish complexion and is often shown with 3 eyes and 4 arms. And even today, people offer Surya Namaskar or salutation to the sun, because the sun gives us energy. And the sun is often worshipped for health as well as to cure diseases. And it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Canto 5, that Surya Narayan is one of the forms of the sun. That means Narayan is taking on the form of Surya here. So I just wanted to end this by glorifying something which is most important for our survival. And of course, that is all coming from Lord Krishna's jurisdiction. Everything is controlled by Lord Krishna's supremacy, and they are all moving under his direction. They are all moving out of fear of him. So with this, I will end my class. If there's any question, I can take maybe just one question here. Yes, Ramindranath Prabhu. So this is coming from Mahabharata. I have it written right here. Yeah, this is coming from Mahabharata, essentially. And I got them from ISKCON Desire Tree. Yeah, I can get you the exact verse, but it's coming from the Mahabharata. If there's no more questions, I'll end the class here. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.